All right, the best NFL Sunday of the year has just finished. Thanks for finding us first in pod. A day like this is why this podcast exists, because we're going to break the entire thing down. Andrew Fillipponi, Patrick Peterson. Listen and subscribe to First in Pod on the Odyssey app, wherever you get your podcasts. We are starting with the 49ers getting back to 500. They beat the Cowboys 30-24. Dallas now 3-4. And I'm going to start with a statement, Pat, and you tell me if you think this is true or false. I don't think either one of these teams is very good.
True.
Yeah, that's my takeaway from this game. We got San Francisco, who late in the game almost gave the game away because they could not have a defender in the red zone within 10 yards of CD Lamb. Twice it happened. I don't know how that works. Dak Prescott, who is the richest man in the NFL, the highest paid player in the NFL, 2 more interceptions in this game. They went 22 minutes of game time without a first down. They can't run the ball. They can't get the ball to anybody but CD Lamb offensively. So both of these teams came in without winning records. San Francisco, the last couple of years, they flashed the stat in 2021 and 2022. They were 3-4, and they flipped the switch and they figured it out. I don't see them getting close to the Super Bowl again. And Dallas just matched their loss total from last year. They lost 4 games all of last year. So I'm sometimes we'll come on here after match up of teams with losing records and say, hey, this might be a kickstart or a jumpstart for a team. I don't see it with either one here, Pat.
Nah, me either. If I had to take a pick between the teams, it definitely seems that it would jumpstart the 49ers getting this win more than it did Dallas losing this game, for sure, because over the years we've seen the 49ers start like this, but at the same time, they're right now with the injury bug, so they don't have a lot of their 5-star players in the lineup. So they've been down this road before. So I have more trust in the 49ers to turn their season around. But the way this game was looking, like you said, both teams fell into the trap coming into this game, almost walking out of this game, just how they, pretty much how the season has been unfolding. Like you said, 49ers not finishing games.
Yep.
Dallas Cowboys cannot get the ball to anyone else except for CD Lamb, cannot run the football. Defense played better than they have, in the past, much more of aggressive mindset, guys flying around, making tackles, making big hits, getting guys' faces. So it was good to see that from the Dallas defense. But on the offensive side of the ball, just 2 costly turnovers, and they just need something else, or someone else, to help that offense get out of his own way, because they're just not the same offense that we used to seeing in the past.
No, they were the highest scoring offense in the NFC last year. And they did nothing. Nobody should be surprised by this, in the respect that they didn't really do anything tangible to improve their team. In fact, it got worse.
Right.
The running back thing was a mistake. I'm not saying you have to throw huge money at it, but to just bring back Zeke and trust Rico Dowdle. The offensive line, there were more subtractions than additions. I would wonder right now, imagine if they did not give Dak that money and Dak was playing this way in the last year of his contract, how that would factor into their decision-making. They wouldn't give him an extension.
But at the end of the day, but they still gave Dak that extension in July.
Closer to the start of the season, it was more like late August, early September. But
right. So they had, the chance to improve their team at that given time during free agency in March.
And didn't. And Jerry Jones stressed urgency and how this was an important year, and it was all gibberish.
Yeah, it was all exactly. Because we're all in.
Poppycock.
Apparently not.
So, to me, this is the bed that they made. You got to sleep in it now. They're kind of getting what they deserve. And San Francisco, I look at it this way. That's right. That's right, Spence. That came down like officially hours before that first game in Cleveland is when the Dak deal was announced.
Mhm.
And then San Francisco, the injuries have just caught up to them. And,
Yeah.
Brock Purdy has not played well enough to overcome them the last 2 weeks. He ran the ball actually pretty well from a escape artist Houdini kind of thing in this game. I thought those were probably his best plays, and he got the ball to Kittle enough to win this game. But down to their third string running back, Deebo Samuel, pneumonia, Ayuk done. Pearsall had a couple nice plays. That's a great story. And their defense, to me, has not really lived up to expectations. That has not been as injured as the offense, and yet Dallas almost stormed back and won the game late. So, yeah, I mean, it was a marquee matchup, Pat. And to be honest with you, I think that if you would have told me at the beginning of the year Dallas was going to go to San Francisco and lose in prime time by only 6 points, I would say, oh, that's not a killer loss for Dallas. That's not getting blown out. That's not an ugly loss. But given the state of both teams, I don't really think either one of them should come out of this game feeling like they're set up or destined to do big things this year.
Nah. Just the way the season has been going for Dallas, the injuries that the 49ers are suffering right now. But like I said, I have more trust in the Niners than I do in the Cowboys.
And at 4-4 now, they're in a three-way tie for first place in the NFC West with Seattle and Arizona. And we'll get to those teams coming up. Everyone's separated by a half game in that division because the Rams are 3-4 and right there. Okay, we've got to do the Bears and Commanders finish. That was insanity.
Man.
We get a Hail Mary here. Jayden Daniels, first of all, played. When we talked Thursday night, he hadn't practiced yet. He came out and gutted out and played. And he authored up the coolest moment and the biggest moment of the NFL season so far. The question on the screen here is Jayden Daniels him? But before we get to the Daniels thing, I've got to ask you about Chicago and the way they played the Hail Mary, starting with Tyreek Stevenson. He's talking smack with Commanders fans while the play is happening. He's not even paying attention. He then has to go from getting into it with fans to running back into the play.
Right.
And it's like divine intervention from the football gods. He ends up being the dude who tips the ball to Noah Brown to lose the game.
Yeah.
And he's offered an apology on Twitter, but dude, those are hollow words. How does that happen?
Pony, I don't know how that happens. First of all, I want to go back to the play before that play because I believe they was at maybe like the 37, maybe a little bit closer.
They ran a 4-second play to get themselves closer to Terry McLaurin.
Exactly. So when we had those type of situations, understanding obviously you have to know how far the quarterback can throw the football. We know Jayden is he's injured, so he may not be able to throw the ball as far as he would if he was healthy. So the first play leading up to the Hail Mary, I wouldn't even get giving them the opportunity to get those cheap 13 yards just because it gave them an opportunity to get closer to put themselves in the position for the Hail Mary. They had no timeouts. I would have just played not a normal defense, but at least have my corners up a little bit closer to deny that free access play because if they don't catch that ball and get out of bounds, the game is over. If they catch the ball anywhere else,
then they got to start to do a lateral play.
Exactly. Yep. So that was the first mistake. But then going back to your original question, I don't know how that happened because, like, for me, as a veteran in secondary, we know that every moment is precious. Every moment is important. So I would have had my guys locked in from the get-go as soon as we left the huddle. Hey, man, we got one more play. Everybody, because I was the type of guy that always like to go over, everyone's responsibility, at least in the back end, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, everybody know what we need to do.
And this dude's got his back turned to the play, yelling at fans.
I know. He wasn't locked in, man. He was not locked in, and it ended up happening to them that caused them losing that game. And everybody was in the wrong on that play because everyone has a position. You have a jumper, you have guys boxing out. Everybody was going for the football. And when you see, and that typically will happen, when you have
Why
everybody
are
on
dudes
the
trying to
defensive side.
intercept the ball instead of bat it down? Is what I don't. They're trying to pad stats. I don't get it,
No,
man.
and actually looking at that, I don't think none of them was trying to intercept the ball either. It just happened. I don't know if the guys lost it or whatnot, but if you go back and look at it, the way that the guys were attacking the ball, it was like the ball had no choice but to go up.
Go
The
up.
way that they was tapping the ball, no one
Like they're
came
hitting
in
the damn
aggressively
beach ball
and
at a
volleyball
friggin'
sliced it down.
baseball game. It's like they were hitting a beach ball back up in the air
Right.
to keep it going. It was unreal,
Exactly.
dude. I don't
Exactly.
understand why Chicago only rushed 3 on that play. What's the logic in not putting any pressure there to let him get set back up to throw it 65 yards downfield?
Man, that was always I had a James Betcher because we got hit with that play in 2015 with Aaron Rodgers, like
Green
a
Bay.
Hail Mary,
Yep.
but unfortunately we end up not unfortunately, fortunately, we still end
Larry
up winning the
Fitzgerald.
ball game. Yes. So
Yep.
we end up still winning the ball game. But our motto was, and our philosophy was always blitz off of the quarterback's strong throwing arm. So if it's Aaron Rodgers or whoever, if it's a right-handed quarterback, we're going to blitz off the right side to force him to his weak side in order to try to throw the football.
And
So
that
always want
happened in
to
another
apply
game
pressure.
today. That's exactly what Houston did to Anthony Richardson.
Exactly.
They got him to the other side, and they did it on purpose.
Yep, and that typically works out a little bit better for you. But I don't like giving guys chances to set up and throw the Hail Mary just because things like that happen. Like we talk about it all the time, and guys will tell you, like, coach, because you go through that play every Saturday. But that's like the last defensive play that you go through, and it's called victory on a Saturday, right? And coach always be like, knock it down, knock it down. And guys would be like, man, shit, when I get in the game, I'm picking that joint off, man. I got to pat the stats. And sure behold, that moment comes up. The last play that we walked through on Saturday. And a lot of people don't take that play serious, but it means a lot, and it end up biting them in the butt.
Pat, I got to sit Stevenson down for the next game. I got to make him inactive. I mean, he's a nice player. He's not a great player. You just you can't tolerate that.
Yeah, that was unexcusable.
And then the Jayden Daniels thing. They did not score a touchdown the entire game until then, but I don't care. This is why this game got put at 4:25 Eastern time today with Nance and Romo there, because they wanted a big audience to see what this dude was all about. And he shimmied and broke a guy's ankle on a run. He hit McLaurin on that long 60-yard pass earlier in the game. He ended up having to settle for a field goal. That was an absolute seed that he put in there.
While under pressure.
Yeah, they should have. They deserve to win today. And the Bears, frankly, and Williams, they had that drive at the end, and Swift got hot, but they should have lost because the other moronic thing they did was hand the ball off to a backup center.
Oh my goodness.
Friggin' 85 Bears and Refrigerator Perry. What are we doing here, Chicago?
Come on, man. After you fought so hard to get back in that position, you hand it off to an offensive lineman. I don't care how often you practice that play.
Exactly.
Like, you give it to someone that is used to handling the football.
You got DeAndre Swift having a great game.
Come on. And also, too, Caleb Williams was showing some wheels when he had the opportunity to break the pocket and show his elusiveness while running the football today.
That was so incredibly stupid. So they deserve to lose the game. And this moment will be a part of the career highlight reel for Jayden Daniels for the rest of his life. What a throw and what a win for Washington today to get to 6-2.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we're moving out west. We got the Bills and the Seahawks. So much for this game being as good as we thought it would be. But what question did the Buffalo Bills answer for you?
Well, they proved to me that they could go in less than ideal conditions. It was raining there all day. It was your prototypical day in Seattle where it was pouring down rain and it was cold there the entire game. Yep. And they could go into that environment and not beat themselves. And they
Yeah.
beat themselves their last road game in Houston with some really brain-dead decision-making by Sean McDermott late in that game, and they ended up handing it to Houston on a silver platter. So I think half the battle a lot of the times is you got to make sure you don't lose the game, and then once you do that, you can go and win it. And they were the team that didn't have the self-inflicted wounds. They weren't the team like Seattle that snapped the ball over the quarterback's head at the 1 yard line. They weren't the team like Seattle that stepped on Geno Smith's foot on another trip near the goal line. So I give Buffalo credit for just doing the routine things. Tomlin says do the routine things routinely. They did that in this game, okay? They did the fundamental things right. Allen got Keon Coleman involved again. He had a touchdown. Shakir had over 100 yards. It was a very business-like win for them. Sometimes that's good enough. No razzle-dazzle. Nothing crazy. Don't hand the ball off to a friggin' center. Just go in there and don't beat yourself with penalties or with stupid, careless plays. And they did that today. And honestly, Pat, that has been something that Josh Allen has had to answer for. He's oftentimes cost his team a game here or there because he's the guy that's trying to do too much. And to his credit today, he didn't do that.
Yeah. I was just about to hit on that point. This was a real big win for the Buffalo Bills, and I love this new and improved Josh Allen, not forcing the ball, really taking what the defense is giving them. And he did throw that interception like you called. You said you said Josh is going to throw his first interception this week, and he did, but the team overcame it. Really, really solid, balanced attack. James Cook having over 100 yards. Josh throwing over 280 yards. Defense playing lights out. Special teams playing complimentary football. So,
Pat, I've never seen two guys on one team, by the way, fight each other like that game today.
Man, that was crazy. Me either.
So
Me either.
all a defensive lineman hits Allen late, and it extends a drive that ends up being a touchdown drive, and then his teammate Reed absolutely tears into him, and then they get back to the sideline, and they start wailing on each other, and coaches got to separate them, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't a good
I can't see you're a competitor, but I can't imagine you losing your temper or having somebody go after you like that on the sideline. I just can't fathom it.
Nah, me either. And I've never been a part of anything like that on the sideline, so that was pretty bizarre to see. But I'm sure, Coach, they'll get that all taken care in-house, and I'm sure that won't happen again.
I love that you said on the sideline, which means that there were things that happened away from the sideline, but we don't have the time to get into that right now. Eagles and Bengals. So Philly goes to Cincy and scores 37. Are the Eagles back?
I think so. I think the Eagles are back. We talked about this. You asked what would be a bigger storyline, the Bengals getting back to 500 or Philadelphia capturing first place, which they did not.
No, because Washington's miracle. Yep.
Washington's in first place right now. But I like what I saw from Philly. I like what I saw from Hurts and the offense taking their shots down the field. The defense looked like they're finally starting to catch their stride. This could be a dangerous football team. That look like it's going to be a very, very competitive 2-game series against Philly and the Commanders. So I'm excited to see those matches. I'm sure both of those probably going to get pushed to prime time at some point. But yeah, Philly came in with a very, very aggressive mindset. They stuck to it. And now Philly looks like the team that everybody thought that they would be at the beginning of the year.
So part of me wants to say that they're I'll be honest. I don't think they're back off of this result because I think there's some fool's gold here because of the circumstances. Number one, Cincinnati's defense, it was a mirage. They put it together the last 2 weeks, I think more because of who they played than who they are. And they went right back to who they've been for most of the year today. Philly just lined up and manhandled them.
Yeah, beat them up.
Yep, Hurts had a couple of tush-push touchdowns. Barkley had another big game. They got back to their identity, but I think it's because Cincinnati is just so meek against good offenses. Cincinnati's winless at home this year, which is insane that they're 0-4, including that loss to New England in week 1. The reason why I'm not going to say they're all the way back is because Cincinnati scored 17 points today. They score more if T. Higgins plays. And that was a late scratch there. So they did beat an undermanned Bengals team. Burrow came out afterwards and said, I think we can win 7 of 9 to get into the playoffs. That was his line. And I wanted to text a buddy who works in Cincinnati and say, hey, you're in this press conference. Tell him right now his boy Patrick Peterson said, hey, it ain't happening.
Nope.
LSU brother to brother says, nope, not going down this year, man. Nice try, though. But the Higgins thing I thought was and we didn't know that on Thursday when we talked about this game.
Yeah,
They are a different team when he plays, and they went back to being the Bengals who struggled at the outset of the year because he wasn't healthy in this one.
All right, we got the Packers-Jags. Packers win their 4th game in a row, but they lose Jordan Love again. How concerned should we be about it?
You know what? I'm a Malik Willis guy. Never thought I'd say it, but I watched this guy come into games, and he produces, and he did it again today.
He did.
And for whatever reason, I think it's because he, in a lot of ways, I'm going to underline and put in bold, poor man's here. But there is a poor man's Lamar Jackson quality with him, where when he goes in, I think the run game gets better because now you're adding the 11th man into the Green Bay offense. And Josh Jacobs was at his best when Love was out, and he played his best game since week 2 today with a couple of touchdowns and big plays. And hell, man, even when Jacksonville was down all their receivers, all of them. I mean, everyone got hurt. Christian Kirk for the year. Brian Thomas, who's been excellent, went out with an injury. All they had was Ingram by the end of the game. And they were pouring it on and making a comeback. And then there's Malik Willis finding Jayden Reed down the left sideline to put them in position to kick a chip shot field goal to win the game. This guy, the power of right situation, good coaching, he looks like a competent NFL quarterback, and I think they can win multiple games with him if Love has to go out and miss a game or two again. So, no, I'm not very concerned because they've got a really good backup, Pat, and I didn't think that when they traded for him before the season started.
Yeah, Malik has definitely answered the questions that needed to be answered. Started.
Did you think he was any good before the season started? I didn't.
No. Yeah, I'm not even going to lie. No, I did not. And especially his first start, seeing how, not necessarily how slow it seemed to be coming to him, but after that, week 2, I think they played Tennessee after that, if I'm not week 2.
Yeah.
His next start.
So, they played the Colts, and then they went to Tennessee.
Yep. So you started to see the playbook open up a little bit more. Coach LaFleur opened up the playbook opened up the playbook a little bit more for him, and the defense was playing lights out. So he plays great complementary football because, like you said, he opposed that threat of having an opportunity to run the football as well. So Josh Jacob has been having some career type games with him in the lineup. But my only concern is we got to find a way to keep Jordan Love healthy because when he's in the lineup, obviously you're able to do a little bit more with your offense, but just too many injuries that's starting to pile up on this young quarterback. So he has to find a way to keep himself upright and out of harm's way as best as he can.
Another bad interception today from him, which I told you is part of the Jordan Love experience. And Trevor Lawrence had a fumble that was inexcusable that really contributed to Jacksonville's loss. All right, Chiefs and Raiders. Kansas City, 7-0. First defending champ to start 7-0 since the 2019 Patriots. Are they really this good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talk about it each and every week. It doesn't matter how it's called, how it's called upon to win a football game. They're going to win it. And I know DeAndre Hopkins did not have, an impact in this game, but you notice in the red zone, Travis was less double teamed, and he got his first touchdown today on tight end.
He had his best game period this year. He had 10 catches.
Exactly. He had his best day in his first reception on tight ends day. So
This
and
whole
that's
what is
when
this whole tight ends day thing, by the way?
I
My
have no
God.
idea.
They're
I have no
saying
idea.
over. I can't go 5 minutes watching the game without them reminding me that it's tight ends day. They have cornerbacks day. They have
Yeah.
running backs day.
No,
No, it's just
just
tight
tight
ends
ends.
day apparently. Okay,
Every fourth, what do you say? Every
fourth
fourth,
Sunday in October,
yeah. So yeah, there
and
you
then they
go.
set a record for most catches by tight ends today.
Yeah,
So go
I saw,
figure.
and most yards.
Most yards.
Yeah, so go figure. Tight ends day.
But
Happy
hey,
tight ends day,
you're
guys.
right though. Kelsey did go off, and I think you're onto something that Hopkins probably opened some of that up for them. It's just,
Mm.
man, there have been teams that have been undefeated this late in the season, and you watch them and you're like, they're way better than everybody else. They either an offense that is scoring 35, 40 points a game, quarterbacks that are locked in throwing 3 or 4 touchdown passes a game. They're not doing that.
Mm-mm.
Like they're winning. This was a 1-possession win against a bad football team today, but they do it every week. There's no
Every week.
style points. It's not
Nope.
pretty, but they do it every week. Mahomes threw another interception today. The Raiders should have capitalized on it and scored a touchdown, but then their defense stepped up and made a goal line stand and held the Raiders without any points. They're the best team in football at playing, and this sounds trite, but playing complementary football.
Yes.
Offense has a bad possession, defense bails them out. Defense shows a little crack in the armor, offense goes down the field and scores. And they've done it now for 307 consecutive days is the last time they lost. And I'm getting sick of it, Pat. And I want
man.
somebody to beat them badly.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough beating that football team, man, because they're well coached. They have guys who understand their role, and they just want to win.
What
and,
happens
and
when Mahomes starts feeling it? What happens when he gets in a groove? Then the rest of the
oh,
league is really screwed.
then it's really over. Just go ahead and put their name on the trophy now. Atlanta versus Tampa. Kirk Cousins goes off again. How did Kirk dominate this matchup this year?
And he really did. I mean, to the tune of 800 yards and 8 touchdowns in 2 games against Tampa. So he averaged 404 in 2 games against the team that has won the division the last 4 years. You know what I see, and you're probably better to handle the X's and O's or schematics of these 2 teams when they match up, Pat. In fact, you're much better. You played in the NFL, and I'm just some nitwit that talks about it. He pushes the ball downfield to their playmakers. And Kyle Pitts had 2 touchdowns today. He had almost 100 yards on only 4 catches. Do the quick math.
Yeah.
That means he's averaging over 20 yards a catch, okay?
Yeah.
So that was not there when it was Desmond Ridder and Marcus Mariota in their offense. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. Darnell Mooney, again, had another long touchdown over 30 yards. He in Tampa with Antoine Winfield Jr. there and the front they have, they're not an easy team. Todd Bowles has typically had very good defenses. Look at what they did to Detroit early this season.
Yeah.
So there's just for whatever reason, you could probably speak to it better. He just gets the ball to guys that were drafted in position to make big plays, but he doesn't just dink and dump it off to him, Pat. He stands in there and gets the ball downfield to these guys, and I think that's been the difference in this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Mayfield's played bad games against Atlanta. He's been actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But Cousins has just been basically perfect against them, and that's probably going to be in the end the reason why Atlanta wins the division and Tampa Bay doesn't.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But Kirk is, to your point as well, Kirk is one of those guys. He does do a great job of pushing the ball down the field, and not only pushing the ball down the field, getting everybody involved in the offense. So that's allowed for him to push the ball down the field, getting the tight end involved, getting Robinson involved out of the backfield, London Drake, and those guys. Then, like you said, you got Mooney, one of the guys who's pretty much taking the top off the defense. So yeah, Kurt is one of those guys that understands his teammates, and he understands what they do and don't like, and that's what makes Kurt such a relatable quarterback. No matter what system that he's in, he's doing all the little things to make sure that he's putting himself and his guys in the best position possible. I had the opportunity to see that for 2 years when I was his teammate out in Minnesota. So I knew it was going to be an easy transition for Kirk coming over to a new team because he loved the game, and with the weapons that he was coming into, I knew Kirk was going to have a big year because that's just when he has that type of talent around him, he's just going to do nothing but flourish. So now it's just going to be on the guys to continue to have his back, the defense continue to play well, so he can get that playoff monkey off his back.
Well, something about that offense, Zach Robinson, he came over from LA. We saw Stafford and those guys. They lit up Tampa on their way to the Super Bowl that year. So something about that offense just does a number on Todd Bowles' defense. Cousins, Mooney had 92 yards. Pitts had 91. Robinson had 13 carries. Algier had 12, to your point. Everybody got involved in their offense, and they scored more than 30 again and won a game that will probably you swept them now, so that lead in the division's actually double what the standings say.
Yeah,
they got the tiebreaker.
Yep.
Colts and Texans. So speaking of these divisional matchups, so now Houston has swept Indy for just the second time ever. But I think the big story here, Pat, is what are the Colts going to do with Anthony Richardson? We can talk about his stat line too, which was just from a completion percentage about as bad as I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But the man took himself out of the game because he was tired. I've never in my life heard of that. And he ain't the first dual threat running quarterback. Michael Vick, Cam Newton, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, you name it, Lamar Jackson. We've had Steve Young. We've had so many great ones, Randall Cunningham, throughout the years. This man actually took himself off the field because he was out of breath.
Yeah,
what the heck is that, man?
Yeah, that was a bad look.
Bad look, absolutely. Like, I would be shook by it if I were his teammate. You're tired?
Yeah, that was a bad look, man. Honestly, I think they need to just go ahead and not bench him. That's a harsh word to say, but go ahead and sit him down and just let him be a civilian, man, the rest of the year. Let Joe Flacco just go ahead and just start the remainder of the season so this kid can see what it looks like, because he's just a deer in headlights when he's dropping back throwing the football, man. It's just
10 for 32.
Yeah, he can't hit wide open guys. Only thing that he has that we talked about early on in the year, he has a very big arm that he really don't know what to do with it just yet. You know, Joe Flacco has a really big arm, but he knows how to throw the football. So let Richardson take the back seat, man, for the rest of this season, to really give him time and an opportunity to let this fast game for him unfold. Because if I'm not mistaken, he was the guy who said NFL is easier than college, huh?
Yeah. Well, he's only 22 years old. And by the way, he didn't start a lot of games, nor did he win a lot of games in college.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure where the hell he was coming from with that. But there's guys right now who are playing fourth, fifth years, making NIL money in college that are much older than him. So you can sit him, to your point. The only thing about that, Pat, is I don't see the accuracy improving enough even from watching. I mean, I don't think you go from a 45% passer to a 65% passer just watching the game. You do it because I think it's your best option right now, and your backup's better than him. And you can win games with Flacco for sure. I mean, Cleveland got to the playoffs with him last year. Look how much different their offense looks when he's in there. But good Lord, I have never heard of a guy saying, "Hey, coach, give me a blow here." You're the quarterback of the team. You're the leader.
Quarterback. Oh, man. Tennessee Titans, they was in for one today. Detroit Lions put up a 50 burger today. Can you tell me what causes this offense to be so explosive?
To me, I think it is. I'm going to actually start with the offensive line. That's where I'm going to go here. And I think the play caller is also brilliant. I think Ben Johnson, there's going to be, at the end of this season, there's going to be like 8 teams that want to hire him as the head coach, and he's going to have his pick of the litter, and he's going to try to figure out which team is either in position to draft the quarterback that I want to work with for the long haul, or which team that has a vacancy is going to give me the opportunity to work with a quarterback I want to work with. I will say about him, though, he did make a mistake, Ben Johnson, because by all rights, he could have had the Washington head coaching job, and I would have loved to have seen him with Daniels. Now, the Kingsbury thing is working out fine, but still, I mean, that would have been really cool. He would have had a quarterback for the next 15 years if he had taken that job.
Right.
But anyways, yeah, I think the offensive line's the best in the NFL. And it took them a couple of weeks for whatever reason this year to get their footing. But I think it all starts from there. It makes Goff comfortable. Look at the running backs. Either one, both can beat you. Montgomery had a huge game. Gibbs had a long run. And the cherry on top is that their special teams, massive today. Khalif Raymond punt return, 2 of them. They forced, I think, 5 turnovers. So they can score 50 points when all 3 phases are working in harmony with each other. Last year, their defense wasn't very good, and they had problems in the kicking game last year too.
Right.
And now, these last few weeks, everything is synced up. The pessimistic fan in me, Pat, when teams do this, I always get nervous that they're peaking too soon. Like, hey, guys, do what you're doing now, and please bottle this up for not October 27th. Can we do this in January, please? Because if they're playing like this, hey, this team can beat Kansas City if they play like this.
Yeah.
Honestly, even without Aiden Hutchinson, which I thought was insane when he got hurt, but they right now look to me like the best team in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah. This is probably the most well-rounded football team, from their head coach to both of their coordinators on both sides of the football, and to
And
the
it's
talent.
the Lions we're talking about.
I know.
Dude, you
I
played
know.
against the Lions for years. It was a friggin' cakewalk. They couldn't get out of their own way.
I know. And the talent that they have acquired over the years, man, they have a real football team, in the city of Detroit is right behind them. So it's pretty cool to see the culture that Coach Campbell has been able to create there. And it has taken him some time, but the ownership in the Lions organization, they believe his vision, and now it's all starting to come into fruition. But going back to your point, I don't think they're flourishing too soon, because this football team, you can tell that they have their eyes on the prize, and they came up short last year, and they obviously understand and know what it takes to get there. So they're not letting anything slow them up or get in their way. And that is the way that they're playing. When I watch the Detroit Lions play on Sundays, it's like they're playing like, we know that we're better than you. Your offensive coordinator is calling whatever plays that he wants. The defense is way better.
They had another
than it
trick
have been.
play today where Laporte had caught a touchdown pass from a wide receiver.
Exactly. And what? Montgomery threw a touchdown pass today as well.
Oh, that was Montgomery. My bad. It was
Montgomery.
Not a
So Montgomery David Montgomery threw a touchdown pass today. So just the confidence that and the poise that they're playing with on a weekly basis, it's scary, man. So watch out. Detroit Lions are for real.
Cardinals and the Dolphins, Arizona, your old team.
Yep.
Kyler spoiled Tua's return with a come from behind win. They were down 9 in the fourth quarter. They won this game. Yeah. What did this win tell us about the Cardinals, Pat?
Man, what I've been saying all year is a strappy football team, and it's just going to come down to Kyler Murray, him staying healthy, him continue to be the dynamic playmaker that they're going to need him to be in order for them to be the team, one of the team standing and representing the NFC West. So in the defense, I like what I see from the defense week in and week out. They may give up, some the offense may get down in the red zone, but they find a way to get costly turnovers. They find a way to not give up many points. So I really like what I see from the Arizona Cardinals, but it's going to come down to number one. Everything's going to come down to number one if he's in the lineup. and if he's completely locked in for the second half of the season, because we all know that's the MO of
That's
his
Call of Duty
career.
time.
Yeah, we all you said that. We all know the first and the second quarter of the season he's really good, but as the season goes on, um, the wins and the losses kind of flip flop. So I don't hope that I hope that will not happen this year for him, because I'm rooting for the Arizona Cardinals. So we'll see how the second half of the season unfold for him. Then we'll be able to have a much better in-depth conversation to see if it's going to be the same old Cardinals that we've been seeing in the past, or is this the new improved Cardinals that want to line up each and every week and win football games.
It's his first 2-game winning streak since 2021.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, I know he had the injury in there, but that's a long time for a number 1 overall pick quarterback who got a big contract to not win back-to-back games. And they were both on late field goals. Marvin Harrison Jr., more of him, please. I mean, that's got to be the recipe. He had 111 yards, and so their connection was there. Here's something about the Tua thing for a minute that got brought up during this game, and I honestly want your opinion on it. He slid on a running play and got a standing ovation from the crowd there. They were so happy that he took off and ran and then protected himself. And I don't know who was announcing this game, but the remark got made that this ex-player thought that defensive players really don't want to hit him, that they know now how fragile he is. And like, there's maybe even a mentality among defensive players, like, I don't want to be the guy who knocks this guy out again. Do you agree with that?
No. I mean, with me being a defensive player, when I'm on the football field, that's not crossing my mind.
Right. Like, how do you actually have time to think about that when you're just trying to do your job
right
and win games? Like, you're consciously thinking, oh, wait, this guy has a concussion history. I don't want to tackle him
right
now.
Yeah, that's just something that's very unfortunate, and you don't want to be playing the game slow or thinking about how you're going to tackle somebody, because then that's how you can get hurt. So that's how a lot of injuries happen as well. Guys unsure what to do. You know what I mean? So no, I do not agree with that statement one bit. We got the Jets and the New England Patriots. Oh my God. I mean, I don't even know where to start with the New York Jets. But is it time to burn the Jets?
Sure. I mean, they need to do something there. They need some kind of exorcism to get themselves out of this. But no, I mean, Aaron Rodgers talking about the darkness after the game, how you got to get comfortable with the darkness. What the hell is he talking about? I mean, seriously. The number on him that I think encapsulates everything that is wrong with this team is that he has now gone 30 games without a 300-yard game. So that goes back to his time in Green Bay, obviously. What is so scary about that is they have been one of the most pass-heavy teams in the entire league. So they can't run the ball, or they don't want to run the ball, or both. And they're giving Aaron Rodgers almost 40 pass attempts a game, and he still can't get to 300 yards. Guys, he's 40 years old. I mean, Tom Brady, I think, had us all fooled because he went to 45. Drew Brees went into his early 40s. Favre had one more year with Minnesota at 40. But everybody else is done by this point, man. It's just Dan Marino wasn't playing football at 40. You go through Kurt Warner wasn't. Go through the list of the great quarterbacks in history, and 99% of them weren't playing anymore. So, I mean, shame on us. I don't mean you, but shame on like the media for just thinking that he was going to come off this Achilles injury and be one of the 3 or 4 best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's not that guy anymore. Yeah. And unfortunately for him, the Jets are such a train wreck and poorly run organization that him as just an average quarterback, it's not good enough there. I mean, honestly, today though, Pat, I mean, I'm not saying he was good, but when you score a touchdown with 5 minutes left and Jacoby Brissett is in the game and you've got all the guys they have on defense it is unacceptable that team marches down the field and scores a touchdown to beat you. And that has nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers.
No.
I mean, that to me was embarrassing. You've got Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, CJ Mosley, name off the stars on defense, and Jacoby Brissett, some guy named Booty, and Ramondre Stevenson, who's a good player, are shoving it up your rear end to beat you. I mean, it's over there. I mean, they bring Devontae Adams and he's going from one bad team to an even worse team after that trade.
Exactly. And just watching this game today, man, this team just looked unprepared. I don't like using the word not coached, or the coach did not prepare the team well enough, but they definitely look not prepared as far as getting the delay of games.
Yep.
Just the penalties.
They used 3 timeouts on offense in the first quarter of the game.
I was just about to say that, using all your timeouts in the first quarter. Zerliner can't make any field goals. I mean, defense can't stop neither one of the quarterbacks. Then you go and lose to the worst team, well, the second worst team in the NFL behind the Panthers. So this was just an awful look on the Jets. Like Aaron didn't play horrible. He still had 233 yards, 2 tubs, only sacked one time, but being average is not going to be good enough to get this team out of this hole that they're
Trevor
in. So,
Lawrence just sliced and diced this team, and the head coach came out afterwards and said, we're soft.
We're soft. Right. Right. I
And
mean,
you're in a
it just
fight with them and you end up losing it. I mean,
man, at the same time too, man, it's just so much. Like I told you, when they fired their coach, it's just too much going on around there for them to get themselves out of this hole. It's just too much.
Ravens and Browns. My man, famous Jameis, played his fanny off in his season debut.
He did.
The Ravens lose a game that they probably should have won. Kyle Hamilton dropped the gimme interception that would have sealed the game for them. Jameis had 9 lives today.
Yeah, he did.
Can he be the Browns QB1 in 2025?
Yes, I believe so, because Jameson is a winner, man. Jameson is a guy who led the league. This is not a good stat, but he led the league in touchdowns before and also interceptions that year.
He had the only 30-30 season ever.
I know. But Jameson is one of those guys that you can trust. He's one of those guys that you can give him the keys and allow him to drive the car, as the Cleveland Browns did today. You can just tell. I don't know what it is about the Cleveland Browns, but their backup quarterbacks just come in and the offense just looked completely different. And we saw that
about Deshaun. Right?
I don't know if I don't know if Deshaun is afraid to push the ball down the field like those quarterbacks, like Joe Flacco and Jameson has done once they get into the starting lineup. But the offense definitely looks totally different when those backup quarterbacks that understand, the offense, not only the offense, but understanding what pushing the ball down the field does for everything else.
There was a big mistake there by the new offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey, where they could have basically just run out the clock at the end of the first half. And on a 3rd and long, they tried to get a first down. There was a missed assignment, unblocked blitz, sack, fumble, and then Baltimore scored a touchdown. And I'm like, damn it, that's the game right there.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore just snatched the lead. They had been outplayed the entire first half, but they're going into the locker room with the lead, feeling like, okay, we haven't played well, but we're winning, and we're going to put our foot on the throat of this team in the second half. Then Jameis comes right out and leads a touchdown drive. He just had that poise, which, to your point, he does, but also that confidence backfires because he just thinks he can make every play, and he'll throw 5 interceptions in games sometimes. But Judy had his best game.
Yep.
Cedric Tillman, who they've been waiting for, made big plays. Chubb looked more like himself. The offensive line didn't look as bad. You put a competent quarterback in there, and all of a sudden Cleveland looks like a much better team. It's the only game all year they've scored more than 20 points. And Pat, look, we've given Baltimore their flowers offensively. They can't win a Super Bowl with this defense. This is not the Baltimore Ravens defense from last year.
Yeah. Yeah, they're leaking, and it looked like it's going back to how they were at the beginning of the season with some mishaps in the back end. Got
Yes.
guys running wide open
How does
for
Tillman get
touchdowns.
behind everybody on that
Yeah,
touchdown at the end of the game?
yeah. It looks like they were in some type of cover three, if I'm not mistaken. He just was streaking right up the seam, and I don't know how he got behind the safety, and Jameson dropped a dime.
Yeah, he did. He could do
He
that to you.
dropped a dime. So uh, you hate to see that because you thought that the Baltimore Ravens kind of got that out of their system. But it is something about divisional games, man, that you know each other very well. You kind of understand when they're in certain defenses or when they want to do certain things. So anytime you're playing against a divisional opponent, no matter how good you're playing or how good you have been playing leading up into this game, you must know that you're going to get your best shot from your divisional opponent. So
And Myles Garrett showed up in a very elaborate Terminator costume.
Terminator
Would
costume,
you
which was
would you wear
fire.
would you wear Halloween costumes to and from
I
games?
did.
Back you
I
did?
did, man. Yeah, it was dope, man. I think I did Freddy before. We did the Beetlejuice family before. Man, Halloween is like ever since I became a father, man,
Yep.
it's like tomorrow, we got a costume for every day. Literally every day of the week.
And Spence wants to know if we're going to do costumes on Thursday. I am, because I'm going to
Oh
be
yeah,
out with
let's do
my
it.
daughter earlier.
Right.
And
I'm gonna
so I
be out
do have,
too, so let's do it.
okay, you will definitely on our YouTube page see us in elaborate costumes. Saints, Chargers, Panthers, Bucks. Thoughts on either one of these games here, Pat?
Saints, Chargers, Panthers, Bucks. Let's go with the Saints and Chargers, man. I wasn't surprised to see the Chargers win the way that they did. They needed that win for sure after losing to that close game against the Arizona Cardinals last week. So this was a much needed win for them. Defense played lights out against a struggling opponent in the Saints. So hopefully this can be something that can kickstart their season. They're kind of riding a roller coaster ride right now. Everyone still is kind of feeling themselves out. But I like what Coach Harbaugh in the direction that he had that team going, because I remember when he came into was the 49ers head coach. We kind of came in the year the same year, and this kind of resembles what he's putting together there in LA. So LA will be a team to be reckoned with, here pretty soon. He's still trying to get his guys in there. But what'd you say? Broncos, Panthers? Nothing. Bryce Young, and he played a little bit better. I don't know if you can see that the process is getting a little bit better for him. With the time that he was able to, sit back and watch behind Dalton. But for the most part, the Panthers are going to continue to stink. And yeah, Broncos look good. Bo Nix looking better as the season goes on. Man, these rookie quarterbacks, man, they looking sharp. So shout out to the rookie class of quarterbacks. But yeah, the Panthers, man, better luck next year.
My quick thought on that game was not only Bo Nix, who had 284 and 3 touchdowns. It was his best game, but it does come against Carolina, so you have to put that asterisk on it.
Yep.
Games like this are why Sean Payton is not ever going to get voted the most popular coach or everyone's best friend coach, because number one, he's got the audacity in a game they're up 28-7 to run a fake field goal and trick play up 3 scores with just a couple minutes left in the game. And then JC Horn, who is a really good player on a really bad team, goes right up to Peyton after the game and is like, dude, what's your effing problem? I love that.
Yeah.
And on one hand, people might say, well, if you don't want that to happen, play better. Understandable. But
Yep.
come on now. Trick plays, though, up 3 touchdowns. To me, that is rubbing it in. If you want to go for it, go for it. If you want to go for it on 4th down, just actually run a play. Don't give me this don't give me that kind of BS play. And then Peyton, after the game, comes out and says, we know that they were a horrible offense, so we're not going to actually take anything out of the way our defense played.
Wow.
Like, no respect, or I'll at least be polite or kind about their rebuilding efforts. Just bluntly says that team stinks.
Yeah.
For the Chargers, did you see the play where, I don't know the New Orleans defender's name, he goes low on Herbert? It's the leg where he had a high ankle sprain earlier in the year, and it looked like he had like a wrestling hold on him where he was trying to bend it in the wrong direction, taking him down. And Bradley Bozeman, the Charger center, came over and absolutely destroyed the guy. I mean, just like, I have not seen an example yet this year of an offensive lineman who's like, you do that to my quarterback and I will actually assault you on the football field. And you know what? I like seeing that.
Oh, yeah. You always have to have your quarterbacks back because, hell, you got to protect them. And if you're not protecting you,
and you take a penalty there, whatever, the quarterback, he's making enough money, he'll pay the damn fine for you, is how I see that.
And not only that, like, offensive linemen see that no matter how old they are, but they look at the quarterback as their baby brother. You know what I mean? So you don't just let nobody, come in and touch your baby brother, do you?
If anybody was going to mess with my baby brother, it was going to be me. I was going to be the one that F with him, not the kid down the street.
Exactly. Hey, but no, I got a quick story about coaches rubbing it in. So I'm gonna take you back real quick. 2013, maybe it was actually it was 2012. We're playing the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. I can't remember what week it was, but it was towards the back half of the season, and we're getting like smashed. I believe at this time the score was like maybe 41-0. And it's like
Brewster, is Arians your coach at this point, or is it still?
No. So this is Wisenhunt This is Wisenhunt last year.
Okay.
So they're up like 40-0, 41-0, or something like 42-0 maybe. Matt Flynn comes into the game. Like I told you, it's fourth quarter, maybe like 6 minutes left. Now, when the backup quarterback comes in, you think they're just about to run the football. You're already beating us 42-0.
Yeah.
Let's get on up out of here. Man, tell me why Pete Carroll, they called in a freaking play action and went up top on us. And I think it was South Carolina receivers with the dreads.
Sidney Rice?
Sidney Rice. Got a doggone play action bomb off of us, and they end up going up 50. Whatever the final score was, it was like 58-0. The final score ended up being 58-0. So I never forget, Coach Bruce Arians coming into his to our meeting. The first thing that he said, "I'd be damned if I let someone just rub like a score in my face like that." And from that point on, that's when it kind of became a rivalry between.
When he got hired, he said that to you guys.
Yes, and that's kind of when it became a rivalry. And we was like one of the first teams to beat them in their stadium, like throughout that time. I want to say Coach Arians had like one of the better records.
Ben said that you forced 2 fumbles in that game, or recovered 2 fumbles, even though you guys got your doors blown off there. 58-0.
I did. I think I had a pick too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it wasn't even.
Wait, he said you lost 2 fumbles in that game. What? No way.
He's right. I did. Punt return. You're right. I did, and I had these sleeves on. Because it was like it was like today. The weather was like on and off. It rained, then it was sunny, then it was foggy. So I had these sleeves on, and it was in that tunnel, our tunnel, and it kicked it like close to the sideline. And I'm watching, the ball was swirling. I'm trying to get a gauge on the gunner, and right when I looked back down, the ball literally went right through my arm. So yes, Spence, thanks for bringing that up.
But he did say you had an interception, so he's really going through the box score now. So at least you made up for it.
Yeah, I mean, I got a good memory. I got a good memory.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to another episode of First and Pod, Steelers and Giants tomorrow. Yep. We'll be back Thursday to break down that Halloween night affair between the hapless Jets and the Houston Texans. So tell your friends, subscribe, rate, review First and Pod.